Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Golas, and I'm the social worker and the bereavement coordinator for Hospice. First, I'd like to take a minute to thank a few people tonight before we get started, and for all of you coming out on this warm night. Hopefully the air conditioning felt pretty good once you got in here. Our Memorial Service Committee members have worked hard to coordinate this evening, made up of some of our Hospice volunteers, Tom Yowzy, Ellen Chamberlain, Julia Fields, Joanne McAvoy, and Renee Kohler. Mary Ellen Platts, Linda Yowzy, Sandy Birchenoff, and Ann Davis also assisted with desserts and setting up for this evening. We would also like to thank the Friends of Hospice, Lewis County Health System, and the Hospital Foundation who continue to support our hospice program and helped in making this evening a success. Our committee is very grateful for Ed Steckley and members of his congregation, Stephanie Widrick, Kathy Widrick, Roman Nofsher, Chick Nofsher, Andrea Moser, Nora Moser, and Mary Grau. The planning of this evening was made so simple because of their generosity, talent, and time that they also graciously volunteered. Typically, our memorial service is an event held yearly to honor those who died on hospice from that previous year. Tonight, we are honoring those that died from April 2019 to March of this year. Due to the pandemic, it has made it difficult for this event to be possible, but we wanted to ensure that families still had the opportunity to participate. Mourning the loss of someone you love is already a difficult time, and the past few years may have robbed you of rituals, traditions, traveling to be with your loved ones, or even missing out on those comforting hugs. Tonight, we invite you all to pause and reflect in a safe place where we all have something in common, and that's coming here to celebrate and remember someone special in our lives. Over the last 4 years, our staff and volunteers have had the privilege of being invited into over 250 homes, where you allowed us to provide the care that we are so passionate about every single day. During one's time on hospice, our staff, volunteers, and doctors often get to know the patients and their families really well and form a close bond. Tonight is also a time for our hospice family to reflect on those lives that they were a part of during their end-of-life journey and to remember all of them. Thank you all for choosing to be here this evening during this busy time of year where you can be present and take the time to reflect on a life that meant so much to you. Our hope is that tonight brings you peace and comfort as you remember the life that you have lost, along with being able to take away a meaningful piece of tonight's message. Please be sure to join us in the fellowship hall. They're right through these doors to my right. After the service, we have refreshments and desserts, so please feel free to go on over there. And now I would like to introduce Tom Yowzy, and he's going to be leading our opening prayer tonight.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Let us take a moment to quiet our minds and hearts, reflecting on why we are here and for whom we are here. We pray tonight for those that have walked our life's journey with us and left us so soon. We also pray tonight in thanksgiving for the caregivers that have been a part of our lives and made our lives special at special times. We pray for all who have been a part of hospice over the years and presently that have walked the lives of people at the end of life. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I'm going to try not to cry. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that they may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life.
I'd like to also extend a welcome to each of you for coming this evening and say thank you. Thank you for participating and thank you for being a part of this very special program. I'd also say thank you to Rachel and Renee and the other hospice staff who I know have worked very hard the last several weeks and months to put this all together, and I think that it is so important that you do that. So thank you again, Rachel, and you did a great job up here. During the past years, I've had the opportunity to interact oftentimes through my work with the staff of hospice. And I would just personally affirm everything that you do. Your gracious support of so many people is greatly appreciated. And I've seen many of your faces as I've gone into homes, and you've been there to comfort, support, and assist. And our community is blessed because of what you do. And I say again, thank you. You have a mission. Hospice has a mission. It is a mission, and it just touches so many people every single day throughout the year, and we're very, very grateful for that here in Lewis County, and we're blessed to have you here. As I was considering my words, I thought about how many people you here this evening are representing, those loved ones that you cherish so deeply. And it struck me as I was thinking about it that we are all, each and every one of us, we are all reflections of those individuals who are no longer with us. Our lives are a reflection of those people. Recently, I have had the opportunity to share quite a few burials and funerals in the spring here. And at a couple of those, I shared a comment, and that is, I know that oftentimes at a burial, at a situation such as this, that people are thinking it is a time to bring closure. And I personally don't agree with that statement, and don't get me wrong, I think it's very important that we come together and that we have the need to have a moment to finalize things of somebody's earthly presence here with us. But I think that it's important for us also to recognize that we never close anyone out of our lives. When somebody has impacted us in a significant way, we never close them out. And we always carry with us a piece of them. And we continue to do that. And we remember them. And tonight you are doing just that. This service is to remember and reflect and think about those individuals. As we think about memories, we may think about a smile, an exciting time with somebody that we had. We may shed a few tears because they're no longer here with us, and all of that is okay. Helen Keller once communicated these words: "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen nor touched, but are felt in the heart." When someone passes from our life, we are able to carry on parts of them by holding them in our hearts and in our minds. You are here this evening because someone meant something very special to you. And that's why you've come here this evening. Someone that you still hold in your heart and in your mind. Someone that in some way played an important role in your life for whatever they have done. It might have been a spouse, possibly a child, maybe a grandparent, maybe a child of your own or somebody else's child. Might have simply been a good friend. But for all of those roles that those individuals played, you are here because they meant something to you. I'm going to ask you to do something this evening. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And we're going to pause for about 30 seconds. I would like you to think about the person that has brought you here tonight that is no longer with us. Consider the positive qualities that they had. Consider the beautiful characteristics of their personality. And possibly consider the words that they spoke to you that made you feel good. So let's pause. Thank you for doing that. I don't know your thoughts. I don't know the people you're thinking about necessarily. But I'm sure that that brought back a lot of really important thoughts and memories that you share for the individual that brought you here tonight. At times of loss, sometimes we question, how can I take the next step forward? How can I move on, not having this person in my life anymore? Well, in moments like that, we can be reminded that, again, that we carry a piece of those individuals with us every step of the way throughout the rest of our lives. And one of the greatest ways to honor and to respect somebody is to reflect a piece of them in our own lives. Being able to reflect some of those qualities that you were thinking about. I'm sure that some of you have watched little kids. Little kids like to mimic and copy the adults around them. Sometimes not always good things. But a lot of times they try to mimic and copy the things that they see. And I've always chuckled when I have seen little kids that are around some adults, and they begin to try to stand in the way that they're standing. Maybe the way they're crossing their arms. Maybe the way they're putting their hands in their pocket, hand on a hip, or whatever it may be. Little kids just have a refreshed way of mimicking those around them. What better way to memorialize somebody than to reflect and mimic a piece of their life in our own? I want to have you go back now in your mind to the thoughts that you just had about that individual I asked you to think about. Now I'd like you to ask yourselves, are you reflecting that? Are you reflecting those positive qualities and characteristics that you were just thinking about? Maybe it was a contagious smile that individual had no matter where they were. Maybe it was a helping hand for all people. Maybe they had an attitude of generosity. Possibly a sincere, respectful gentleness with every person that they came in contact with. Maybe they just had this optimistic attitude about life. And they just had that and they carried it no matter where they went. Possibly their strength of faith is something that they reflected in their life. For all those things, no matter if what I mentioned was what you were thinking, all those things, and the list can be endless, we can reflect in our own. And that can be a way of honoring the individuals that we're here to respect this evening. The Apostle Paul, in one of his many letters that he wrote to many people, he was writing words of encouragement to a group known as the Philippians. And in chapter 4 of the book that he wrote, I'm going to paraphrase a few of the words that he shared with them. Don't be anxious or worried today, but through everything, keep praying and be thankful for the people that you have known, reflecting their goodness. And God's peace, his calming comfort, his generous love will bring new understanding, protecting your hearts and minds in Jesus. There's no doubt that each and every one of us has experienced the pain of loss, the hurts that come along with that. When somebody that has been dear to our heart is no longer with us, we experience emotions that we don't like to experience. Jesus himself tried to prepare his very best friends for those very same feelings. He knew what he was going to be experiencing. And so he was trying to prepare his close friends for that day when he would no longer be with them. And he said to them, my peace is with you. my peace is with you. And how wonderful it is that we can reflect on that same peace tonight as we think about the individuals that we've lost. You know, as we experience that very same peace, we can be strengthened in being able to reflect the lives of those that we loved. This peace also allows us to continue shining their reflection. And again, I would hope that each of us tonight can go away from here thinking about a way that we can reflect the very people that we're here honoring tonight. Something special about them to be shared and continued to share. What a great way to honor their lives. A couple years ago, I came across a Native American prayer, and I'd like to close with that as 4 simple lines. I've added an additional line to each of those lines. And so I'd ask that you bow your heads and close your eyes at this time as I pray this Native American prayer. Looking ahead, I'm filled with gratitude for the beautiful life of my loved one. Looking forward, I'm filled with vision, seeing that I carry pieces of their life and my own. Looking upward, heavenward, I'm filled with strength, knowing I can reflect their goodness. And looking within, I'm filled with peace, confidently knowing that Jesus' peace was shared with us all. Amen. So my encouragement to each of us, to each of you here this evening is simple. Be the reflection. Be the reflection as you go forward today. Blessings to each of you. At this time, Randy Lehman is going to be coming forward. We're going to have a video showing and honoring those that you've lost, and Stephanie Widrick will be playing the violin at the same time. So, Randy?
Good evening. It's my honor to read the names of those that we've come to memorialize tonight as the tribute plays. Maurice H. Graves. Robert D. Logan. Kevin Joseph Boliver. Mary E. Trillian. Richard P. Rickbrower. Clifford Zeb J. Mary. Loretta Mae Alexander. Marjorie Ellen Moser. Martin Bruce Weigand. Nancy Jeanette Erb. Lyle D. Robbins. Myles H. Higby. William D. Jackson. Janet Irene Odell. Frederick Joseph Bingle. Warren Anthony John Miller. Timothy S. O'Donnell. Linda M. Hall. Audrey J. and Thomas Z. Eaves. Wendy Smith. Phyllis E. Tiffany. Michael D. Duell Sr. Joan T. Gennard. Donald Francis Schwendy. Jean W. Duncan. Carl S. Golas. John H. Ross. Wilbur E. Moser. Mary Jane Raymond. Anna Margie Widrick. Pamela Jane Bulger. Glenn Redman. William N. Nappy Knapp. Florence Yancey. Joyce Bo A. Boucher. Ingrid G. Lupp. Oliver Jr. Francis Lefebvre. Carol B. Miller. Todd F. Closter. Thomas E. Carroll.
Next time a sunrise steals your breath or a meadow of flower leaves you speechless, remain that way. Say nothing and listen as heaven whispers, "Do you like it? I did it just for you." Max Lucado. Even in the midst of your deepest grief, we can be touched by a moment of beauty, joy, or love. When this happens, let's stop to marvel. It takes mindful discipline for many of us to take even a short break from our busy lives, but the more we practice, the more of a habit it will become. Stop what you're doing, give your full attention to whatever is creating the feeling of awe, joy, or love in you. If it's another person, speak a kind word of appreciation. If it's a beautiful sight, watch for a while. If it's a sound, pause and listen. You get the idea. Did you know that attention is a form of currency? That's why we use the phrase paying attention. Whatever we spend our precious attention on grows. Attending to moments of beauty, joy, and love will not take away our grief. Nothing can. But it will make our feelings of awe, joy, and love grow. Learning to truly live, even as we grieve and mourn, is a worthwhile practice. When I experience moments of awe, joy, or love today, I will stop and pay attention.
The song is "In the Boulder is a Flower." When I hear this song, it's not about the end of life, but the beginning, as we look beyond what we now see with our eyes, but a vision of what God has in store for us, that of a new hope and future with Him. 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18 says, "Therefore, we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal.
At the end of this prayer, I would like us to share together in the Lord's Prayer, or the Our Father. I guess you all know what I'm talking about. We will use the words trespasses, and we'll also include at the end, for thine is the kingdom, and so on. Alrighty, shall we pray? Father, we thank you for the personal interest you take in each of us. You desire that each of us choose to be part of your family. I thank you for the lives we have celebrated this evening and the pleasure that each one has given you. I thank you for the many ways that you touch our world through the willingness of each one to allow you to work through them. Our world is certainly a better place for having known each one of these. I pray for those left behind. We miss those loved ones' presence. There is a void in our lives that they no longer fill, and we grieve that. Please keep extending your sufficient grace and healing to us. We all thank you that in your mercy, you released our loved ones from a living situation they didn't want to a life on a whole new plane. And now we close with a model prayer that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May God bless you. real well. I guess this concludes, you coming up?
Yeah. Yes, everyone, please join us. Like I said, right through this door to my right, there's a fellowship hall, and there is some refreshments and desserts, and even some to-go bags. If you'd like to just grab some to take, there's plenty. So thank you, everyone, for making tonight possible. So please join us after. Thank you.